Hi guys, thanks for joining me in this video. Today we'll be playing 10 chords that you must know if you want to play jazz, bossa nova, R&B, soul music and so on. We'll be seeing these 10 positions and we'll be seeing where the root note is and how to move the chords through the fretboard in different keys. Let's get started with a close-up. So the first chord is a G major 7. We'll be playing this with the first finger on the 3rd fret of the E string, which is the G, our root note. Then we skip the A string, we play 3 and 4 on the 4th fret of the D and G strings, and then the 2nd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, like this. So I'm not using the 1st string and I'm not using the 5th string. Like we said, the root note is on the E string, so that means that I can move it anywhere else using that as a reference. So I can play a B major 7, moving the 1st finger to the 7th fret of the low E string and playing the same position, like that. The second chord I will be playing is a C major 9. This beautiful chord here. Now, this chord has the root note on the 3rd fret of the A string, which I will be playing with the 2nd finger. Then I'm going to play my 1st finger on the 2nd fret of the D string. I'm going to play my little finger on the 4th fret of the G and my 3rd finger on the 3rd fret of the B string, like this. Here I'm not playing the low E string and I'm not playing the high E string, so I'm not playing the 1st and the 6th. That's the sound of the chord. Now this is a major 7 chord extended to the 9th. We are not playing the 5th. So we can call this C major 9 and it's an omit 5. So we're gonna have the root note, we're gonna have the 3rd, the 7th and the 9th, like this. Now since the root note is here, you can move it anywhere else on the A string. So you can go, for example, to the 8th fret of the A string and you'll be playing an F major 9, like this. The next chord is a very important chord for bossa nova music and Brazilian music and jazz in general, and it's the D6-9. When we play this chord, we use the 2nd finger on the 5th fret of the A string, which is the D. It's our root note. We're going to use a bar, which covers the 4th fret of the D, G and B string, but we won't play the B string with it. We will play the ring finger on the 5th fret of the B string in this way. Now, this chord is basically played with the root note, the major 3rd, the major 6th and the major 9th this way. So it's an omit 5 and it doesn't have the 7th, and we are not playing the low E string and the high E string. Since the root note is on the A string, you can move it again anywhere else using that as a reference. So if I go to the 9th fret, I'll be playing an F sharp 6-9, like this. The next chord is the E7 sharp 9. Very important chord. Sometimes it's called the Hendrix chord. The root note is on the 7th fret of the A string. Then I'm going to use the 1st finger on the 6th fret D string, the ring finger on the 7th of the G, and the little finger on the 8th of the B string, like this. Again, I'm not using the 1st and the 6th string, and the root note is on the A string, so you can move it everywhere else. For example, if you go to the 4th fret of the A string, you'll be playing a C sharp 7 sharp 9. This is a dominant 7 chord where you add an alteration. The alteration is the sharp 9, like this. The next chord I will be playing is an E minor 7. The E minor 7 is something that you can play with a bar on the 7th fret, where the root note is on the 7th fret of the A string. You don't need the low E string, so the bar should be over 5 strings, and with the fingertip of your bar, you're actually gonna mute the low E string this way. Then you use your ring finger on the 9th fret of the D string and the 2nd finger on the 8th fret of the B string, like this. It's a beautiful chord, very important for R&B and soul music, and you can move it anywhere else using the same shape, keeping in mind that your reference is going to be on the A string, so your root note is going to be on the A string. The next chord is another very important bossa nova, Brazilian and jazz music chord, and it's the B flat 7 flat 5. Now, in order to play this one, you need to think of a normal B flat 7, where you don't play the 5th, the perfect fifth because you're gonna play the diminished fifth, the flat 5 here. So that means you can refinger the chord in a way that the second finger plays the root note on the 6th fret of the low E string, then you play your ring finger on the 6th fret of the D, the little finger on the 7th of the G, and the first finger on the 5th of the B. So I'm not using the first string, I'm not using the 5th. The root note is on the low E string, so that means that you can move it anywhere else. For example, if you move it to the 3rd fret, you're gonna play a G7 flat 5. It's a very beautiful chord. The next chord is gonna be a B minor 11. B minor 11 is basically a -7 chord that we extend to the 11th, to the perfect 11. So that means that we can play the second finger on the 7th fret of the low E string, which is a B, then skip the A, play 3rd and 4th on the 7th of D and G, and the first finger will be on the 5th fret of the B string this way. Even here, I'm not using the A string, I'm not using the first string, and since the root note is here, once more, you can move it anywhere else. So you can go, for example, to the 5th fret and play an A minor 11, like this. Next chord is the funk chord, the dominant 9 chord, like E9. When you play this, your root note again is the 7th fret of the A string, then you play with the second finger, then you play with your first finger, the 6th on the D, and then you bar with your ring finger, the 7th on the G, B, and E string, like this. Now the root note is on the A string, so again you can move it anywhere else. For example, you can go to D, 5th fret of the A string, and play your D9 with the same shape. Next chord is gonna be A13. The A13 is a dominant 7 chord that we extend to the 13th. So we're gonna play the root note, the -7, major 3rd, and the 13th here, so it doesn't have the 5th, it's an omit 5 chord. The first finger plays the root note on the 5th fret of the low E string. We skip the A, then we play the 5th fret of the D with the second finger, we play the 6th fret on the G with the ring finger, and the little finger is now playing the 13th, which is the 7th fret of the B string. In this case, it's gonna be an F sharp. This is your A13. Now again, since your root note with your first finger is on the low E string, you can move it anywhere else with the same shape. For example, you can go to the 8th fret, where you can find the C, and play a C13. The last chord that we are gonna see in this list is gonna be a C sharp diminished 7th. Now the C sharp diminished 7th means that you're gonna play a diminished triad with a diminished 7th. So you're gonna use your second finger on the C sharp 4th fret of the A string, ring finger on the 5th fret of the D string, then the first finger plays the 3rd fret on the G, and then you're gonna use the little finger on the 5th fret of the B string, like this. There's a beautiful chord again. We're not playing the low E and the high E string, the 1st and the 6th, and your root note is on the A string. That means that you can move it anywhere else and you'll be playing a diminished 7th chord with the root note on the A string. Something important about the diminished 7th chord is that this is a symmetric chord. That means that you can move it by 3 frets, like I was doing, this way, and the chord that you get is always going to be the same chord, just an inversion of it. So if you start from our C sharp diminished 7th and you move it 3 frets forward to E diminished 7th, this is basically just an inversion of the chord that we were playing before. In fact, we can say that we only have 3 different diminished 7th chords: C diminished 7th, C sharp diminished 7th, and D diminished 7th. All the other diminished 7th chords that you can play are just inversions of one of these 3. Alright, I hope this video helped you learning new chord positions and how to move them through the fretboard. If you have any questions about any of these chords, or if you have any suggestions about any chords that I could talk about in one of the next videos, please leave them in the comment section below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you enjoyed this lesson, you can like the video and share it with your family and friends. That will help me a lot and will be much appreciated. If you want to keep up with all the upcoming lessons, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit the bell button if you want to be notified when I release the new videos. This was the Bearded Guitarist. Thanks a lot for watching, guys. I'll be seeing you next time.